what if your university took you on a trip to Fiji? Mine actually did. We got to live with Fijian host families on an island that took 24 hours to reach. We went freediving on coral reefs, and we hiked to waterfalls that we got to jump off. The craziest part was that we had relevant assignments and classes the whole time. If any of this sounds interesting, stick around to see what it's like to be a student traveling the world with LIU Global. Vlog time. So we're in Sydney right now. We're a little early. The start of a class field trip. We're gonna be going to Fiji, to multiple islands, and now the camera's broken. Here's the update. We're at the Opera House. On our first day in Sydney, we went on a walking tour of the city, seeing some very iconic places. And then throughout the week, we visited various organizations such as Action on Poverty, Clean Slate Without Prejudice, and the Refugee Council of Australia. We still had our regular classes, which either took place at the hostel or at a coffee shop. And then there was free time, which is how I got to try Korean hot pot and go to karaoke. What the fuck? Our time in Sydney flew by, and somehow it was already time to fly to Fiji. Guys, we're going to Fiji! We had pretty much a full travel day, and after landing at the Nandi airport, we still had a 2 or 3 hour drive to Sigatoka, which is where we spent our first 2 nights. After getting there, we had a nice group dinner and then an early sleep, excited for a day of relaxing and snorkeling at the beach. Hey, Jay!
Woke up with the sun on my face. New horizons, another place. Packed my heart in a worn out bag. Chasing dreams down an endless track. Footsteps echo on foreign streets.
We're about to head to the sand dunes. Nice pocket tree on you. It's a very good fashion statement. Built into the semester, we plant trees on 3 separate occasions. We do this for a variety of reasons, but considering that our program has an environmental focus, we aim to offset our carbon emissions, which includes 3 flights within the semester, as well as the flights to and from school at the start and the end.
That's great.
You guys ready?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Cameron!
Oh, Cameron, go!
This visit to Sigatoka Sand Dunes and many other visits throughout the trip were part of the Innovative Encounters with Nature and Knowledge course, IENK, and that's a experiential learning-based class where we have a pre-assigned reading, we have the experience, and then we have a reflection afterwards, tying the 2 together. So in this example, we had readings on extractive industries and eco-capitalism, and we talked about it and connected it. And that's what we try to do with really all of our classes, is connect them to the bigger experiences that we're having. As an example of one of those experiences, we got that one! After our reflection time, the next few hours were spent driving to Suva, where we were gonna spend the rest of the week. On our first day in Suva, we went to this big market and walked around seeing the different things for sale, such as kava and cassava, and many other things I forget the name of. And then we went to a Sulu shop to get Sulus because we all needed one for our upcoming week living in a Fijian village with host families. During our week in Suva, we visited various organizations such as the United Nations, the Fiji Women's Rights Movement, and the Pacific Island Forum, as well as getting to go to museums and just explore the city. And of course, we still had our regular classes, which either took place at a coffee shop or in a classroom that we'd book. Somehow it was already our last full day in Suva, and we went to Koloi Suva National Park, where we did another IENK class. Okay, it's the moment we've all been dreading. A 20-hour ferry from Suva to Taveuni, where we're gonna each be staying with a Fijian host family for a week. As you might expect, trying to sleep on a rocking boat on a hard floor isn't too easy, but it was an experience to remember. After this 20-hour ferry, we're all exhausted. We have maybe a 1 or 2 hour drive to Waitabu, which is where we'll be staying for the week. When we get there, we immediately have what's called sevu sevu, and that's like a welcoming ceremony. If they accept us into the village, then we all got introduced to our host families. And immediately after I'm introduced to my host family, they bring me to their house where I'm supposed to have lunch. So I sit down on the floor. There was like 10 or 15 kids just in a semicircle around me, just watching me eat, like kind of whispering to each other and giggling. It was like super awkward, but at the same time, I was just like absolutely loving how unique of an experience it was. And it really got me excited for the rest of the week. After that, the first 2 days were just a total blur. The kids grabbed us by the hands and basically took us wherever they wanted. We were supposed to have a rest day for our first full day there, but it was more of a play with the kids and do whatever they want day. So we spent a day playing with the kids on the beach and just had an absolute blast. On Monday, our first full day there, we went free diving at Waitabu Marine Park, which is like a ecotourism kind of thing that they have.
Hold my breath, I sink below. The world above fades soft and slow. The ocean whispers, pulls me in. A weightless dance where life begins. Every dive a fleeting race. Heartbeat slow in the water's embrace. No clocks, no time, just the here and now. The ocean teaches me how. Beneath the blue, where silence sings, the depth reveals what breathing brings.
This feels like a Fijian beach. Nature's balance beam. Coconut tree. Ah! It was some of the most incredible diving that I've ever gotten to do. I just haven't seen that much really of live reef in my life, and so getting to see reef that's like flowing around was just magnificent. So later that afternoon, we had an arts and crafts workshop where they showed us how to make mats and baskets and a whole bunch of other stuff. A few of the kids had told Alieska and I that they'd teach us how to climb coconut trees. So we went on a whole adventure to try and climb coconut trees, and this is what happened. Going to climb coconut trees. Okay, we go up there. Holding on. So nice.
How you doing, bro?
Oh. Shy guy. Later that evening, I taught Jerry how to use my GoPro, and he got a couple funny clips, so here they are. There's you. You can see right there.
Yes.
Today we started off by visiting Boma School, which is a school for the 5 villages in the region, and then we went to Tavoro waterfall after that for another IENK class. Today we drove back to the west side of Taveuni and visited a coconut research center, a hydropower plant, the International Dateline, Tutu Rural Training Center where they teach young couples and women how to build business skills and start their own businesses, and then we visited the Waitabu rock slide. A boat picks us up, drives us further down the coast and then inland, like up this river. Our professor tells us he's in the boat with us. Okay, now we're gonna climb up all 3 of these waterfalls and jump off. Here's the video of that. I guess we're going to climb some waterfalls now.
Jump off that.
Here's the video, it's all like stream or something. It's honestly impossible to describe the time in Waitabu with words. At the beginning of this week, we had really no idea what we were getting up to, and by the end, we felt like a part of this community, each with a Fijian host family who had welcomed us into their home as one of their own.
Oh my goodness gracious.
You're so cute. Oh, stop.
This last night of celebrations is something I'll remember forever, from the dancing to the kava, to more dancing to more kava. It was just the cherry on top of the most unique experience of my entire life. So after the previous night's celebrations, which lasted till past 1 in the morning, we had a 4:30 a.m. wake up for what was about to be the most insane 2 days of travel I've ever experienced. It went a little something like this. Wake up for a 5 a.m. departure on less than 3 hours of sleep. Take a 1.5-hour van to the port. Take a 2-hour ferry from Taveuni to Vanuatu, where we got on a 2-hour bus, had a 30-minute break before getting on a 3-hour bus, which took us to a ferry from Vanuatu to Viti Levu. The ferry was supposed to be 4 hours, but ended up being 6. We then had another 2-hour bus, which took us to Suva. We spent the night in Suva, had a class in the morning before getting on a 4-hour bus to the airport, having a 4-hour flight back to Australia, and a 3-hour drive back to Byron Bay, which got us there at 2 a.m. So there you have it, a trip to Fiji as a student at LIU Global. I did my best to, make this something that reflects my experience as a student and something that could kind of give you insight to what your life could be like as a student at Global. There's going to be links in the description, and feel free to ask any questions in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.